I'll pay $1 million to have you tonight." He said it without preamble, without hesitation, his voice low and controlled in the private booth of the club where she'd just finished dancing, where the bass still pounded through the walls and the dim red lighting cast shadows across his face. And Zara Novak, who'd learned years ago that everything in life had a price, who'd survived by being practical and cold and never letting sentiment cloud her judgment, found herself frozen, staring at Lysander Kane with an expression she couldn't quite control, because $1 million was more money than she'd see in 10 years of dancing in this godforsaken club, more money than she'd ever imagined having, enough money to disappear, to start over, to finally be free. And yet something in the way he said it, in the way he watched her with those dark, unreadable eyes like he'd been planning this moment for months, made her skin prickle. With awareness and her instincts screamed danger, even as her mind rapidly calculated what $1 million could buy. "Excuse me?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt, and she was proud of that. Proud that years of performing had taught her how to maintain composure, even when her heart was racing. Lysander didn't repeat himself. He simply watched her, utterly still in his expensive suit, his hands resting calmly on the table between them. She'd seen him before. Of course she'd seen him. He came to the club every Thursday night for the past 6 months, always alone, always in the same corner booth, always watching her with an intensity that should have been creepy, but instead felt like being studied, like being seen in a way that was both terrifying and thrilling. He never approached, never spoke, never even smiled, just watched her dance with those dark eyes that seemed to strip away every defense she'd carefully constructed. And now he was offering her $1 million for one night. Zara sat down slowly across from him, uninvited, crossing her legs deliberately, watching his eyes track the movement with satisfaction. Good. Let him look. Let him want. That's what gave her power in these situations, the wanting. Men who wanted were men who could be controlled. Except Lysander Kane didn't look like a man who could be controlled by anyone. "That's a very specific number," she said carefully, "and a very bold proposition. I don't make propositions I'm not serious about." His voice was deep, cultured, with the kind of controlled precision that suggested every word was chosen deliberately. $1 million. One night. You leave in the morning with a cashier's check. And what exactly do you expect for your $1 million? She kept her voice light, professional, like they were negotiating a business deal and not something infinitely more complicated. You. All night. No interruptions. No phone calls. No boyfriend showing up to cause problems. The way he said boyfriend made it clear he knew about Ricky, which shouldn't have surprised her. Lysander Kane was the kind of man who knew everything about everyone he was interested in, but still sent a small chill down her spine. That's a lot of money for one night. She tilted her head, studying him. Men have paid significantly less for significantly more of my time. I'm not interested in what other men have paid. His eyes held hers. I'm interested in what it costs to have your complete and undivided attention for 12 hours. No performance. No pretense. Just you. Something in those last 2 words made her breath catch. Just you. Like he knew, like he could see, that everything she did was performance. That the confident, seductive dancer was a role she played. That underneath she was just a girl from nowhere trying to survive in a world that chewed up girls like her and spit them out. "You don't know me," Zara said quietly. "I know enough." He leaned forward slightly, and she caught the scent of his cologne. Expensive, subtle, masculine. "I know you dance Thursday through Sunday. I know you support your boyfriend who hasn't worked in 8 months. I know you send money to your mother in Cleveland every month. I know you're smarter than you let anyone in this club believe. I know you're saving money to leave, but you never quite save enough because someone always needs something from you." His voice dropped lower. "I know you're tired, Zara. Tired of performing. Tired of surviving. Tired of being strong. And I'm offering you a way out." Her heart was pounding now, and not from fear, from something else, something dangerous. "One night doesn't change my life," she managed. $1 million does. He didn't blink. "Take it. Disappear. Start over somewhere this club and everyone in it can't touch you." "Why?" The question came out before she could stop it. "Why me? Why $1 million? You could have any woman in this city for a fraction of that." For the first time, something shifted in his expression. Not quite a smile, but close. "Because I don't want any woman in this city. I want you. I've wanted you since the first time I saw you dance 6 months ago. I've watched you every Thursday since then, and every week I've wanted you more." His voice was still controlled, but there was something underneath it now, something raw. "So yes, $1 million. One night. And then you're free to do whatever you want with the money and your life. Zara's mind was racing. $1 million. Enough to leave Ricky and his endless demands. Enough to quit this club where the owner's hands wandered and the other girls looked at her with envy and hatred. Enough to start completely over. But something in Lysander's eyes told her this wouldn't be as simple as he was making it sound. I have conditions, she heard herself say, and was somewhat horrified that she was actually considering this. Name them. I want half up front. Before anything happens. Non-negotiable. He nodded once. Done. I want to see the money. I want proof you actually have it and this isn't some elaborate game. My attorney will provide verification tomorrow. You'll have $500,000 in your account by noon. He said it like $500,000 was pocket change. Next condition? I choose when and where. Not you. His eyes flickered with something that might have been amusement. Acceptable. Though I'd suggest my penthouse. More privacy. But ultimately, your choice. And I walk away after. No strings, no expectations, no. She struggled for the word. No claims on me afterward. You walk away after with the full $1 million and we never speak again. If that's what you want. The way he said that last part suggested he didn't think that's what she'd want, which irritated her. That's what I want. Then we have an agreement. He pulled a business card from his jacket, slid it across the table. My attorney's information. Call him tomorrow at 9. He'll arrange the verification and the initial transfer. He stood up in one smooth movement. I'll wait for you to contact me with the date and location. Take your time. Make sure you're certain. He turned to leave and Zara found herself speaking without meaning to. Why are you so sure I'll do it? Lysander looked back at her, and for the first time she saw something in his eyes that looked almost like vulnerability. Because you're tired of pretending you don't want to. And because... He paused. I think part of you has been waiting for me to ask. Then he was gone. And Zara sat alone in the booth with a business card and a proposition that could either save her life or destroy it completely. Her phone buzzed. Phone? Text from Ricky. Where are you? Jewel said you finished her shift an hour ago. Need money for groceries. She stared at the message, then at the business card, then back at the message. $1 million. One night. She typed back, I'll be home soon. But she was already planning what she'd say when she called Lysander's attorney in the morning. The next day, Zara stood in her tiny apartment bathroom, staring at her phone, the attorney's number pulled up on the screen. Her hand was shaking slightly, which annoyed her. She'd made her decision. She was doing this. The shaking was unnecessary. She hit call. Hastings and Associates. How may I direct your call? I need to speak with... She glanced at the card. Marcus Hastings, regarding Lysander Kane. There was a pause. One moment, please. The hold music was classical, pretentious. She almost hung up. This is Marcus Hastings. The voice was crisp, professional, utterly unsurprised. You must be Ms. Novak. How did you... Mr. Kane informed me you'd be calling. I have the verification documents prepared. Would you prefer I email them or deliver them in person? This was real. This was actually real. Lysander had been so certain she'd call that he'd had his attorney prepare documents in advance. Email, she managed. Excellent. And your banking information for the initial transfer? She rattled off her account number with the small credit union where she kept her savings. All $8,000 of it, money she'd been hoarding for 3 years trying to build an escape fund that never seemed to grow fast enough. Perfect. You'll see the deposit by noon today. The remaining $500,000 will be transferred immediately following the agreed-upon evening. He paused. Mr. Kane has requested that you contact him directly regarding scheduling. Do you have his personal number? No. I'll text it to you momentarily. Is there anything else I can assist you with, Ms. Novak? This is... She stopped. What was she even asking? This is legally binding? The money is mine regardless of anything. The initial deposit is yours free and clear the moment it hits your account. The second deposit is contingent only upon you fulfilling the time commitment. What happens during that time is between you and Mr. Kane. My firm is simply facilitating the financial transaction. His voice softened slightly. Mr. Kane is many things, Ms. Novak, but he's a man of his word. If he's promised you $1 million, you'll receive $1 million. She thanked him and hung up, then sat on her bathroom floor waiting for the text with Lysander's number, her heart pounding, her mind racing through all the ways this could go wrong. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Lysander. You called my attorney. Thank you. Let me know when you've decided on a date and location. Take whatever time you need. She stared at the message, then typed, Why are you being so patient? Most men who offer $1 million for a night expect immediate gratification. His response came quickly. Because I've waited 6 months already. A few more days won't kill me, and because I want you to come to me willingly, not because you feel pressured. She typed, how do you know I won't just take the 500K and disappear? The response took longer this time. Because you're not that person. You honor your commitments even when they cost you. It's one of the things I admire about you. Before she could respond, another message. The money should be in your account now. She pulled up her banking app with shaking hands, refreshed, stared. $508,000. He'd given her $8,000 extra, exactly the amount that had been in her account before. Her phone buzzed again. The extra is so you can quit today if you want. You shouldn't have to dance another shift if you don't choose to. Zara sat on her bathroom floor staring at $500,000 in her account and a text from a man who'd been watching her for 6 months and felt something shift in her chest that might have been fear or might have been something infinitely more dangerous. She typed, Friday night. Your penthouse. 8 p.m. His response was immediate. I'll send a car. Then, thank you, Zara. She didn't respond. Just sat there staring at her phone until she heard Ricky's voice from the living room. Babe, you home? I'm starving. Did you bring food? Zara looked at her phone, at the bank balance, at the messages from a man who'd just paid her $500,000 for one night. Then she stood up, walked into the living room where Ricky was sprawled on the couch in his underwear watching sports highlights, and said something she should have said 8 months ago. We need to talk. Ricky didn't even look away from the TV. Can it wait? Game's on. No, it can't wait. She picked up the remote and turned off the television. What the hell, Zara? I was watching that. When was the last time you looked for a job, Ricky? He blinked at her like she'd spoken a foreign language. What? Why are you asking me that? You know the economy's bad right now. Nobody's hiring. The club is hiring. 3 different restaurants on this block have help wanted signs. The grocery store is hiring. Her voice was calm, controlled. Nobody's hiring you because you're not looking. I'm waiting for the right opportunity. You're waiting for me to support you indefinitely. She crossed her arms. It's not happening anymore. Now he was sitting up, his expression shifting from confused to defensive. What's gotten into you? Did something happen at work? Did one of those guys say something to you? Because I'll go down there right now and what? You'll do what exactly? She stared at him. You haven't been to the club in 3 months. You don't even know what happens there anymore. Because you told me it makes you uncomfortable when I'm there. No, I told you it makes me uncomfortable when you show up drunk and start fights with customers because you think they're disrespecting me. She took a breath. I'm done, Ricky. He went very still. Done with what? With this. With you. With supporting someone who contributes nothing and expects everything. You're breaking up with me. He stood up now, and she could see the panic starting to set in. Babe, come on. Don't be like this. I know I've been struggling, but I'll do better. I'll look for jobs tomorrow. I've heard this speech before. Nothing changes. Is this about money? Because I know things have been tight, but you're doing great at the club. Jewel was saying you made almost $3 grand last weekend. You've been talking to Jewel about my earnings? Something cold settled in her stomach. She just mentioned it in passing. When do you talk to Jewel in passing, Ricky? His face did something guilty. It's not what you think. You're sleeping with her. It wasn't a question. No. I mean, we hooked up once, maybe twice, but it didn't mean anything. Zara laughed, and it sounded bitter even to her own ears. Of course you are. Of course you're sleeping with the one girl at that club who hates me most. She doesn't hate you. She's been trying to take my shifts for 6 months, Ricky. She spreads rumors about me. She accidentally spills drinks on my costumes. Zara shook her head. And you've been sleeping with her while living in my apartment rent-free. Babe, please. He moved toward her and she stepped back. Don't. I want you out by tomorrow. Out? Zara, come on. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Stay with Jewel. She seems happy to have you. She pulled $500 from her purse, money that now seemed laughably small compared to what was sitting in her bank account, and threw it on the couch. Here, first and last month's rent somewhere. Figure it out. You can't just kick me out. This is my home too. Your name isn't on the lease. You don't pay rent. You contribute nothing. It's not your home. It's mine. Her voice was hard now, colder than she'd ever heard it. Be gone by tomorrow, or I'll have the locks changed and your stuff on the curb. She walked into the bedroom and locked the door, leaving Ricky sputtering protests in the living room. Her phone was buzzing with texts. Probably Jewel, probably Ricky telling her what happened, probably drama she didn't have the energy to deal with. Instead, she pulled up Lysander's number and typed, "Thank you for the extra $8,000. I just quit my boyfriend." Felt appropriate. His response came quickly. Good. He didn't deserve you. She stared at that message for a long time. Then typed, "How do you know?" The response, Because anyone who had you and treated you as less than extraordinary is a fool. Zara sat on her bed with $500,000 in her account, and 4 days until she had to fulfill her end of an agreement with a man who'd been watching her for 6 months and wondered what the hell she'd just set in motion. Thursday night, Zara went to the club one last time, not to dance, to collect her things and tell the owner she was done. Dmitri, the owner, a second-generation Russian immigrant with wandering hands and a nasty temper, didn't take it well. You can't quit. You're booked solid through next month. Then I guess you'll need to rebook those clients. She was cleaning out her locker, throwing costume pieces and makeup into a duffel bag. You have a contract, an illegal contract that says I can't work at any other club within 50 miles for 2 years after leaving. I've checked with an attorney. It's not enforceable. She hadn't actually checked with an attorney, but she was betting Dmitri didn't know that. His face reddened. You think you can just walk away? After everything I've done for you? Everything you've done for me? She turned to face him fully. You mean letting me work here while taking 40% of my tips? While looking the other way when clients get too handsy? While scheduling me 6 nights a week because I'm your biggest earner? Her voice was cold. I don't owe you anything, Dmitri. You're making a mistake. You'll be back. Girls like you always come back. Girls like me. She smiled, and it wasn't pleasant. You mean girls you've been sexually harassing for years? Girls you underpay and overwork? Yeah, I won't be back. She slung the duffel over her shoulder and walked past him toward the exit. Jewel was in the hallway, clearly having heard everything, her expression smug. Good luck finding another club that'll take you, Jewel said sweetly. Word travels fast about girls who break contracts. Zara stopped, turned slowly. I know about you and Ricky. Jewel's smile faltered slightly. I don't know what... I know. I've known for weeks. I didn't say anything because, honestly, you did me a favor. He's all yours now. Enjoy supporting him. She leaned in closer. Oh, and Jewel? That thing you do where you accidentally tell clients I offer extras? I've been keeping a list, with dates and names. I'm sure Dmitri would love to hear about how you've been running your own side business using his club. Jewel went pale. You wouldn't... Try me. Zara smiled. Stay out of my way and I'll stay out of yours. But if I hear you're still spreading rumors about me after I'm gone, I'll make sure every girl in this club knows exactly what you've been doing. She left Jewel standing there speechless and walked out of the club for the last time, feeling lighter than she had in years. Her phone buzzed. Text from Lysander. I heard you quit. Congratulations. She stopped on the sidewalk, typed, How did you already hear that? His response. I own the building your club operates in. Dmitri called to complain about losing his best dancer. I told him to consider it a lesson in treating employees better. Zara stared at that message, then typed, You own the building? You've been watching me dance in a club you owned for 6 months? The response came quickly. I own many buildings in this city. That particular one became more interesting to me 6 months ago. I may have started attending to board meetings there more regularly. She didn't know whether to be flattered or disturbed. Settled on, that's either very romantic or very creepy, and I haven't decided which. His response made her smile despite herself. I'm hoping for romantic, but I'll accept creepy if that's your assessment. Before she could respond, another message. One more day. Are you nervous? She typed honestly. Terrified. His response. Good, so am I. That surprised her. She typed, You're nervous? You're the one who made this proposition. The response took longer this time. Wanting something for 6 months and actually having it are very different things. I'm terrified I won't live up to whatever expectations you have, that you'll leave in the morning regretting this, that I'll finally have what I've wanted and somehow ruin it. Zara sat on a bench outside her former workplace, staring at that message, and felt something crack in her chest. He was nervous. The powerful, controlled, unreadable Lysander Kane was admitting to being nervous. She typed, I don't have expectations. I don't know what to expect. I've never done anything like this before. His response was immediate. Neither have I. That surprised her. She typed, You've never paid for... The response cut her off. I've never wanted someone enough to wait 6 months to speak to them. I've never offered someone money because I couldn't think of any other way to have them. I've never been this uncertain about anything in my life. So no, I've never done anything like this before either. Zara stared at that message for a long time, then typed, Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Don't be late. His response, I'll be there at 7:30, just in case. She smiled despite herself and headed home to her apartment where Ricky's stuff was thankfully gone, and she had one more day to decide if she was really going through with this. Spoiler, she was absolutely going through with this. Friday arrived faster than Zara expected. She spent the day in a haze of nervous energy, getting her hair done, buying new lingerie she couldn't quite believe she was spending money on, changing her outfit 17 times before settling on a simple black dress that was elegant without being too obvious. At 7:45 p.m., a car arrived. Not just any car. A Mercedes with a driver in a suit who opened the door for her and called her Ms. Novak, like she was someone important. The drive to Lysander's penthouse took 20 minutes through Manhattan traffic. Zara spent the entire ride staring out the window, her heart pounding, wondering if she could ask the driver to turn around. But she didn't. The building was in Tribeca, all glass and steel and the kind of expensive that didn't need to advertise itself. The doorman greeted her by name. The elevator required a key card to access the penthouse level. When the doors opened directly into Lysander's apartment, he was waiting. He'd changed from his usual suit into dark slacks and a white button-down with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. Casual, or as casual as Lysander Kane probably ever got. His dark hair was slightly mussed, like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked nervous. That made her feel marginally better. "You came," he said quietly. "You paid me $500,000. I'm many things, but I'm not a thief." She stepped out of the elevator and the doors closed behind her with a soft sound of finality. "You look beautiful. You look nervous." His lips twitched in what might have been a smile. "I am nervous." "Good. That makes two of us." She looked around the penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, minimalist furniture, expensive art on the walls. "Nice place. Thank you. Can I get you a drink?" "Yes. Something strong." He moved to a bar in the corner, and Zara used the moment to study him. He moved with careful precision, like everything he did was controlled, measured, but his hands shook slightly as he poured whiskey into 2 glasses. He was actually nervous. The realization did something strange to her chest. He handed her a glass, their fingers brushing. The contact sent electricity up her arm. He paused. "I don't actually know what to toast to. To bad decisions and expensive mistakes," she offered. "To possibilities." He touched his glass to hers. "And to honesty." They drank. The whiskey burned going down, warm and grounding. "I should tell you something," Zara said, setting down her glass. "I almost didn't come. What changed your mind?" "Curiosity and—" she hesitated. "And the fact that you've been honest with me. About wanting me, about being nervous. Men don't usually show me that side." "What side do they usually show you?" "The side that thinks I'm a commodity, that thinks my time and body are for sale, and once purchased, they own me." She met his eyes. "You're paying me $1 million, and somehow you've made me feel less like a commodity than any man I've dated." "You're not a commodity, Zara. You're—" He stopped, seemed to struggle for words. "You're the most extraordinary person I've ever met. The money isn't payment. It's the only thing I had that I thought might convince you to give me a chance." "A chance for what?" "To show you that someone sees you, really sees you. Not the dancer, not the survivor, not the role you play. You." He took a step closer. "I've watched you for 6 months. I know you smile differently when you're genuinely happy versus when you're performing. I know you have a tell when you're tired. You touch your left earring. I know you're kind to the new dancers even when they're terrified of you. I know you're brilliant and guarded and you've learned to weaponize beauty because it's the only power you've ever had." Zara's breath caught. You've been watching me very carefully. I told you I'm obsessed." He said it simply, like it was just a fact. "I know that should probably concern you. Maybe it does concern you. But I'm done pretending I'm not." She should have been disturbed, should have been scared. But all she felt was a strange sense of relief that someone finally saw her and didn't look away. "Can I ask you something?" Her voice was quieter now. "Anything. What do you want from tonight?" "Really want?" Lysander was quiet for a long moment. Then, "I want you to stop performing. Just for one night. I want to see the real you, the one you hide from everyone. I want—" His voice dropped. "I want you to let me see you, all of you, without the armor. That's not what most men want when they pay for a night. I'm not most men, and this isn't payment for sex, Zara. It's payment for honesty, for vulnerability, for 12 hours of you being real with me." He moved closer, and she could feel the heat radiating off him. "If all I wanted was sex, I could have had that 6 months ago for significantly less money. Then what do you want? You. The truth of you. Whatever that looks like." His hand came up slowly, giving her time to move away. She didn't. His fingers traced along her jaw. "I want to know what you look like when you're not pretending. What you sound like when you're being honest. What it feels like to touch you when you're not performing." Zara's heart was pounding so hard she was sure he could hear it. "And if the real me is disappointing, impossible, He said it with such certainty. But if you want to test that theory, stop performing right now. Show me the real you. The one who's terrified. The one who quit her job and her boyfriend in the same week. The one who's standing in my penthouse wondering what the hell she's gotten herself into. She should have laughed it off. Should have deflected. Should have done what she always did and turned it into a game. Instead, she felt something break inside her chest. I'm scared, she whispered. I'm so scared. Of you. Of this. Of the fact that you see me and I can't hide and I don't know what to do with that. Good. His thumb traced her cheekbone. Be scared. Be real. That's all I want. What if I can't? What if I've been performing so long I don't know how to stop? Then we'll figure it out together. He leaned closer, his forehead resting against hers. You have 12 hours, Zara. 12 hours to be completely honest. To say what you really think. To feel what you really feel. No performance. No pretense. Just you. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, something had shifted. I've been watching you too, she admitted quietly. Every Thursday for 6 months. I knew you were there. I knew you were watching. And her voice broke slightly. I danced for you. Only for you. Everyone else in that club disappeared when I saw you in that corner booth. His breath caught. Zara, I'm not supposed to tell you that. I'm supposed to pretend I didn't notice. That you were just another customer. But you weren't. You've never been just another customer. She looked up at him. I've been waiting for you to approach me for 6 months. And when you finally did, when you made this insane offer, I wanted to say yes immediately. Not because of the money. Because of you. The look on his face was worth every bit of vulnerability it cost her to admit that. Then why did you make me wait until today? His voice was rough. Because I needed to know if you'd wait. If you'd be patient. If you wanted me enough to let me have control over this one thing. She took a shaky breath. Everyone takes from me, Lysander. Everyone. My boyfriend. My boss. The men at the club. Everyone wants something, and they just take it. But you offered. You asked. You waited. And that's what you deserved from the beginning. He cupped her face in both hands now. You deserve to be asked, to be valued, to be waited for. You deserve someone who sees you as more than what you can give them. Zara felt tears prick her eyes and tried to blink them away. I'm not supposed to cry. That's not sexy. Fuck sexy. His voice was fierce. Be real. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to laugh, laugh. If you want to tell me to leave you alone, do it. But stop performing. Please. For both of us. So she did. She let the tears fall. Let herself be vulnerable in a way she hadn't been in years. And Lysander didn't pull away, didn't look uncomfortable, didn't try to fix it. He just held her. And somehow that was more intimate than anything else that could have happened. They stood like that for a long time. Her crying, him holding her. Both of them finally being honest. When she finally pulled back, wiping her eyes, she laughed shakily. This is probably not what you imagined when you offered me $1 million. No, it's better. He smiled, and it transformed his face. Thank you for being real with me. The night's just started. I might go back to performing any minute. Then I'll just have to keep calling you on it. His thumb traced her lower lip. I told you. I want the real you. All night. Every moment. She looked up at him. This man who'd been watching her for 6 months. Who'd offered her a fortune just to be honest with him. Who was looking at her now like she was precious. Lysander? Yes? Kiss me. Not because you paid for it, but because you want to. I've wanted to for 6 months. Then stop waiting. He kissed her. Finally. After 6 months of watching and wanting and waiting, he kissed her. And it was nothing like the performative kisses she'd given 100 men. This was real. Raw. Honest. His hands in her hair, her hands gripping his shirt, both of them pouring months of tension into one devastating kiss. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Zara realized something that terrified her. This wasn't just about the money anymore. Maybe it had never been just about the money. She was in so much trouble. The kiss ended, but the intensity didn't. They stood in his living room, foreheads pressed together, breathing each other's air, and Zara felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff with 2 choices, jump or run. She pulled back slightly. I need a minute, to think. Take all the time you need. He stepped back, giving her space, and that simple act of respecting her boundaries made her want him more. She walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out over Manhattan. The city sparkled below them, millions of lives playing out in those lit windows, and she was up here in a penthouse with a man who'd paid $1 million just to see the real her. Can I tell you something? She said quietly, not looking at him. Anything. I've never been honest with anyone. Not really. I learned young that honesty is a luxury people like me can't afford. You tell the truth and people use it against you. You show weakness and they exploit it. You let someone in and they destroy you. She hugged herself. So I learned to perform, to be what people wanted, to never let anyone see the real me, because the real me wasn't valuable enough. She heard him move closer, but he didn't touch her, just stood near enough that she could feel his presence. What changed? He asked quietly. Why are you being honest now? Because you made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And because... She turned to face him. Because I'm tired, Lysander. So tired of pretending, of performing, of being strong. And you offered me 12 hours to just be real. That's... Her voice cracked. That's the most valuable thing anyone's ever offered me. More valuable than the money. Then take it. Be tired. Be real. Be whatever you need to be. He moved closer. I've got you. For the next... He checked his watch. 11 hours and 37 minutes. I've got you. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to perform. You can just be. Zara felt something crack in her chest. What if I don't know how? Then we'll figure it out together. He held out his hand. Trust me. Just for tonight. She looked at his hand, at his face, at the genuine care in his eyes, and made a decision that would change everything. She took his hand. He led her to the couch, sat down, pulled her down beside him, not in a sexual way, just close, comfortable, real. Tell me something true, he said quietly. Something you've never told anyone. Zara was quiet for a long moment. Then, I hate dancing, I'm good at it. I make great money, but I hate every second of it. I hate the way men look at me. I hate performing sexuality I don't feel. I hate pretending to want attention I actually despise. She laughed bitterly. Everyone thinks I love it, that I'm this confident seductress who gets power from dancing. But really I'm just a girl who learned how to weaponize her body because it was the only currency I had. Lysander was quiet. Then, I'm sorry. For what? For being one of the men watching you. For contributing to something you hated. You were different. She turned to look at him. Everyone else watched me like I was a thing, a fantasy, something to consume. But you watched me like you were trying to understand me. Like you saw a person, not a performance. Because you are a person, an extraordinary one. His hand found hers. Tell me something else, something true. I'm terrified of you. Why? Because you see me. And being seen it's the most vulnerable thing I can imagine. You know things about me I've never told anyone. You've been paying attention. And that's... She struggled for words. That's terrifying and thrilling, and I don't know what to do with it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just let it exist. He squeezed her hand. I'm terrified too, you know. Of what? Of this, of you. Of the fact that I've been obsessed with you for 6 months and now I finally have you here and I'm terrified I'll mess it up. That you'll realize I'm not worth the trouble. That I've built you up in my head into something you're not, and reality will disappoint us both. She turned to face him fully. Do I seem disappointing so far? God, no. You're... He stopped, seemed to struggle for words. You're more than I imagined. The real you. The vulnerable you. You're devastating. Devastating in a good way or a bad way? In a way that makes me want to tell you the truth too. He took a breath. I'm not good at this. At emotions. At vulnerability. I've spent my entire adult life learning to control everything and everyone around me. It's how I survive in my world. But you... He looked at her. You make me want to lose control. And that's terrifying. Zara felt her breath catch. Then lose control. Just for tonight. I don't know how. Then we'll figure it out together. She used his words back at him, and something sparked in his eyes. You're dangerous, Zara Novak. So are you, Lysander Kane. She moved closer. Maybe that's why this works. He kissed her again, and this time it was different. Less desperate. More real. They kissed like they had time. Like they could explore each other without urgency. Like this was the beginning of something rather than a transaction. His hands were in her hair, gentle but possessive. Her hands were on his chest, feeling his heart pounding under her palm. They kissed until they were both breathless, until the world narrowed to just this moment, just this truth between them. When they broke apart, Lysander rested his forehead against hers. I need to tell you something, he said quietly. Tell me. I don't want this to be one night. I know that's the agreement. I know you're planning to take the money and disappear, and if that's what you want, I'll honor it. But, his voice was rough, I want more. I want tomorrow night, and the night after that. I want to keep discovering the real you. He stopped. I want you, Zara. Not for $1 million, not for one night, Just you. She should have panicked, should have pulled away, should have reminded him of the agreement. Instead, she whispered, I want that too. And it scares the hell out of me. Good. Be scared. Be real about being scared. He pulled back to look at her. We don't have to decide anything tonight. We have... He checked his watch again. 10 more hours. Let's just be honest with each other. See where it goes. Okay. She took a shaky breath. Then I'm going to be honest about something else. What? I've wanted you to touch me for 6 months. Every Thursday I danced, I imagined it was for you. Only for you. I imagined what it would feel like if you finally stopped watching and started touching. She met his eyes. So touch me. Not because you paid for it, but because you want to. The look in his eyes could have melted steel. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. He kissed her again, deeper this time, with 6 months of wanting behind it. His hands moved to her waist, pulled her closer until she was practically in his lap. She went willingly, wrapping her arms around his neck, losing herself in the feeling of finally being touched by someone who saw her. This wasn't performance. This was real, raw, honest, and it was more intense than anything she'd ever experienced. They made their way to his bedroom, though later Zara wouldn't remember the details of how they got there, just the feeling of his hands on her, his mouth on hers, the desperate need to be close to someone who actually saw her. What happened in that bedroom over the next several hours was private, sacred, not for performance or observation or transaction, just two people being completely honest with each other for the first time in their lives. But what Zara would remember forever was the moment afterward, when they were tangled together in his expensive sheets, both breathing hard, both vulnerable in ways they'd never been with anyone else. Lysander traced patterns on her bare shoulder and said quietly, I'm in love with you. I know I shouldn't say that. I know it's too soon. I know you're going to leave in the morning, but I'm done lying. I'm done pretending. I've been in love with you since the 3rd Thursday I watched you dance, and I needed you to know that before you leave. Zara's heart stopped, then started again, faster. She should have deflected, should have laughed it off, should have protected herself. Instead, she turned to face him and admitted the truth she'd been hiding from herself. I'm in love with you too, and it terrifies me, because people like me don't get to keep good things. We survive. We take what we can and move on before it's taken from us. But you, her voice broke, you make me want to stay, want to believe I could keep something good, and I don't know how to do that. Then learn with me. He pulled her closer. Stay, not for the money, not for one night. Stay, and let's figure out what this could be. What if I ruin it? What if I'm too damaged, too broken, then we'll be damaged and broken together. His voice was fierce. I'm not asking for perfect, Zara. I'm asking for real. And the real you is everything I want. She kissed him to stop the tears, to stop the words, to stop the terrifying hope rising in her chest. They fell asleep tangled together, and for the first time in years, Zara felt safe. She woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the realization that 12 hours had passed. The agreement was over. She could take her money and leave. Lysander was still asleep beside her, his face peaceful in a way she'd never seen it. She studied him. This man who'd offered her a fortune just to be honest with him, who'd somehow seen through every defense she'd ever built, who'd told her he loved her and meant it. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She picked it up carefully, not wanting to wake him. 17 missed texts, all from Ricky. She deleted them without reading. 3 missed calls from Jewel. She blocked the number. 1 text from Lysander's attorney. The remaining balance has been transferred to your account. Pleasure doing business with you, Ms. Novak. She pulled up her banking app. $1,000, $8,000, rain. $1 million. Enough to disappear, to start over, to never look back. She looked at Lysander sleeping peacefully beside her. Then she got up, got dressed, and did something she'd sworn she'd never do. She walked out, not because she wanted to, but because she was terrified, because this was too good, because people like her didn't get happy endings, because loving Lysander Kane meant being vulnerable in ways that could destroy her. So she left, took the money, ran, and spent the next 3 days in a hotel room trying to convince herself she'd made the right choice, while her heart screamed that she'd made the worst mistake of her life. On the 4th day, there was a knock at her hotel room door. She opened it without thinking. Lysander stood there, still in the same clothes from 3 days ago, looking like he hadn't slept since she left. You ran, he said quietly. Yes. Why? Because I was scared. Of me? Of us? Of feeling something real? Her voice broke. Of losing it. He stepped into the room and she let him. You can't lose what you never let yourself have, Zara. You can only wonder what it could have been. I'm not good at this. At staying. At trusting. At being loved. He moved closer. I know, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm not Ricky. I'm not the men at the club. I'm not going to use you or abandon you or make you small. I'm going to love you. Every day, even when you run. Even when you're scared. Even when you push me away. Tears were streaming down her face now. What if I keep running? Then I'll keep finding you. His voice was gentle but certain. Until you believe that you deserve to be loved. That you deserve to stay. That you deserve something good. Lysander, I love you, Zara Novak. Not for one night. Not for $1 million. Just love you. The real you. The scared you. The you who runs when things get too real. All of you. He cupped her face in his hands. So you can keep running if you need to. But I'm going to keep chasing you until you believe me. She broke. Completely. Threw her arms around him and sobbed into his chest while he held her and told her it was okay to be scared. It was okay to run. It was okay to be broken. Because he loved her anyway. When she finally pulled back, wiping her eyes, she laughed shakily. I'm a mess. You're my mess. He smiled. If you'll have me. I have $1 million now. I could go anywhere. Be anyone. I know. I could disappear. Start over. Never look back. I know that too. But She took a shaky breath. I don't want to. I want to stay. With you. And that terrifies me more than anything. Then be terrified. Be real about being terrified. But stay anyway. His forehead rested against hers. Please, Zara. Stay. She kissed him instead of answering. Poured every bit of fear and hope and desperate love into that kiss. When they broke apart, she whispered, I'm staying. But you have to promise me something. Anything. If I run again. When I run again. Because I will. I know myself. You'll come find me. You won't give up. You won't let me sabotage this. I promise. I'll find you every time. As many times as it takes. He smiled. Though I'm hoping eventually you'll stop running. Maybe. But it'll take time. I have time. I have all the time in the world for you. He kissed her again. Now come home with me. Really come home. Not for a night, not for money. Just come home. And she did. 3 months later, Zara still had nightmares about losing him. Still had moments where she wanted to run. Still struggled to believe that something this good could last. But Lysander kept his promise. Every time she pulled away, he pulled her back. Every time she doubted, he reminded her why they worked. Every time she tried to perform instead of being real, he called her on it. They were messy and complicated and sometimes a disaster, but they were real. And for the first time in her life, Zara was learning that real was better than perfect. She still had the $1 million, invested most of it, started her own business consulting for dancers who wanted to leave the industry, used her experience and her newfound freedom to help other women find their way out. Lysander supported her completely, gave her space when she needed it, held her when she didn't. They weren't perfect, but they were honest. And honesty, it turned out, was worth more than any amount of money. But that's a story for part 2. Because this story, the story of how Zara Novak took $1 million offer from a man who loved her and learned to love herself in the process, was just beginning. And some beginnings are worth more than all the money in the world. So what would you do if someone offered you $1 million for one night? Would you take it? Would you run? Drop A in the comments if you'd take the money, and A if you'd run away. And here's the real question. Do you think Zara made the right choice by running? Or should she have stayed from the beginning? Let me know in the comments because I'm reading every single one and I need to know what you think. Also, part 2 is coming. Want to see what happens when Zara's past comes back to haunt her? When someone from Lysander's world threatens everything they've built? When they have to decide if love is worth fighting for? Smash that like button if you want part 2. Subscribe to Sophia's Letters so you don't miss it. And hit that notification bell because this story is just getting started. What other stories do you want to see? A bodyguard romance? Enemies to lovers? Forbidden love? Drop your ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most expensive things in life are worth every penny.